Going live. Oh, we're live. Hello, everybody. Melinda Jacobs, Holistic Restoration Coach here. I have the amazing opportunity to talk to an amazing human. This person reached out and said, I want to talk to you about restoration. And I'm like, okay, because I've been rebranding myself as a holistic restoration coach. And so I want to introduce you all to Kyle Look. Hi, Kyle.
Hi.
Kyle and I met, he says, back in 2008, something like that. And it feels like lifetimes ago for me. I was a massage instructor. I used to teach massage therapy. And I taught the professional development class, and then I kind of taught the end of the year classes, the more advanced stuff, the technical stuff. And Kyle was one of my most amazing students. So Kyle, how you doing?
I'm great. You are in Colorado, right?
I'm in Colorado, right? And you're in
I'm
Nebraska?
in Kansas.
Kansas. Yeah. Well done voting,
Yeah.
Kansas.
Yeah.
So Kyle had this great idea. He's like, I want to talk about restoration. And I'm like, okay, let's do that. And so we came up with a little bit of a format that we're going to chat about. So I love this question is, what does it mean to take personal responsibility? So I do a lot of work with people, helping them heal through and beyond trauma, helping them restore their health, their relationships, their money and finances, and their faith. And so taking personal responsibility is such a big part of that restoration. So Kyle, I'm going to kind of hand it over to you, and I'll pop in when I feel inspired. But what brought this to the surface for you?
So I've been reading a lot of books about trauma, and one of my most recent ones is What Happened to You? And it was written by Dr. Perry and co-written by Oprah.
Ooh.
And it is fantastic. I just now coming to realize my own personal like childhood traumas and how they've affected my life and life path. And the restoration responsibility thing has been coming up in the context of breakups. So like I feel like when people have a relationship and they break up, both people kind of play victim and feel like, well, I'm the either the hero of the story or the victim, but I'm not the villain. And it's really none of those things. It seems to be that we all play a small role in why the relationship ruptured
Mhm.
permanently. And I think the same thing holds true for jobs that you lose, or on bad terms, where have to quit or get fired or something like this. And so looking backwards, of course, we only see these things in hindsight,
Right.
but looking backwards, I saw where I was the problem. And I think if that were something that more people were to look backwards and see, maybe we could make more relationships work. And I
Maybe.
mean all types of relationships,
Can I just
not
jump
just
in really
romantic.
quick, because I'm just so meticulous about our language and the words we use. And I've just heard it so many times. I'm the problem, you're the problem, the child's the problem. And I just want to correct that, because energetically that's not accurate. We have a problem. But you yourself were never the problem. I myself was never the problem. There was a problem. There was a breakdown, a miscommunication. But I'm so that one I like to jump all over really quick, because I think it's part of why things go south, is because we all hold on some level that sense of there's something wrong with me, rather than maybe I don't have a developed enough sense of communication. I don't have a healthy enough way of communicating. That's the problem. So I just wanted to
Yeah,
jump on that.
yeah, and let me rephrase then to say, I'm not the problem, they're not the problem, but rather there is a problem,
There is a
and
problem.
and and that the problem is a breakdown of communication,
Mhm.
and also that, um, gosh, I lost my train of thought.
You're talking about taking
Yeah,
responsibility for it, for your part of
that
the,
that
the issue.
that I played a role.
There
I
you
think
go.
that's the thing that people need to say is that I played a role.
Yeah, here's my
And
part in
so
it.
look, here's my part in it. Absolutely.
Mhm.
And so you're not taking full responsibility for the whole thing, and neither are they. But people like to dodge from it, hide from it, and say, well, it wasn't me. But yeah.
We don't see
So,
that happening on a larger scale at all, do we?
yeah, right. So I think if we were to face this as a society, I think a lot of society's problems would probably start to dissolve. I know that's hopeful thinking, but I think the micro scale is the individual people on the play stage, and then the macro stage is the big ol', you know,
Right.
war and everything else. Um, and so I I looked backwards at a job that I lost, that I played a role in losing, that I didn't think that I did, and I reached back and asked for forgiveness, from my employer, and I was just gonna read. It's really short. I was just gonna read what I wrote to him.
Yes,
Um,
please.
see if I can find it.
So while you're looking for it,
Okay,
what
yeah,
I
I
love
found it.
about what you're saying is just how important it is for us to take personal responsibility. And before you read your letter, I just want to share I had a conversation 2 days ago with a prayer partner where I recognized that I was contributing to this sense of, we live in the United States. It's a little chaotic here right now. And I kind of like feel like there's this revolution kind of energy that's, underneath it all. There's this tension and this polarization. And I realize I'm contributing to it by feeding into anything that I'm perceiving as me and them. And so in that way, I'm like taking personal responsibility. It's like, oh, wait a minute. I need to stop doing that. I need to start just having love, kindness, understanding, compassion to any single person. And I don't care what political party, what stance anybody takes, that there is this sense of personal responsibility on my part to start to dissipate that polarization that's happening. And so we can all take personal responsibility on that. Anyways,
Yeah.
to your letter.
Okay. Yeah, so it's pretty short. So I said to him, I want to apologize to you for the way I behaved when I worked for you. I struggled a lot with being asked to do particular work tasks that I didn't think I was developmentally ready for. If you asked me to do those same things now, I could probably easily do most of them. I can imagine your frustration dealing with that level of obstinacy, the stress and pressure of my own business and managing a team of sorry, the stress and pressure of owning a business and managing a team of employees is undoubtedly heavy work. I too tried to start and run my own business recently with limited success. One could even say I failed at it from a certain perspective. It's only easier to see other people's perspectives in hindsight, which is unfortunate. I'd like to thank you for giving me that job because I have a lot of fond memories of it. Um, in it, I found friendship like I hadn't really found much prior to it. Sorry again for such a sorry again for being such a demonstrable pain in the ass. Sorry. Um, and he wrote back, you were a wonderful asset and owe me no apology. I rather owe you the apology for pushing you too fast, too hard. I wish you only the best and value our friendship, which I will always hold our friendship close to my heart. I feel my wife also holds much respect for you as well. I appreciate your nice message, and I hope you can also accept my apology.
Wow.
So,
And that's why I put Kyle Look Amazing Human. It's because uh, throughout the last few years, you've reached out to me privately, and it's just like, how do I handle this? How do I do this? And really, I just see you out there really wanting to take personal responsibility for what you are and to really bring healing into the situation. And that letter is just a glowing example of that. Thank you.
well, what I want to try to do though is I want to not have to do that later. I want,
After the
or
fact.
even so far down the road, because
Mhm,
another one that I don't know if I sent it to you. I wrote a little thing about something that happened when I was a kid. It was about a. Did you read it?
mhm,
Yeah. So it was like something that I had done to one of my mom's belongings that meant a whole lot to her, but I didn't know how much it meant to her, and she
mhm.
didn't tell me. And I think people can't truly fully consider you until you give them enough information. And so I
Sure.
didn't have enough information, honestly. Like I just didn't know why I was doing what I did, and I did it, and I was able to repair it like after, gosh, 20 some years. Like I don't want to wait that long for reparation, like
Yes, yes, and so we're going to kind of move into the next piece is, I think that we're sitting on generations of things that need to be restored and repaired. And the power of an apology and the power of forgiveness is, I mean, it's so healing. And when, I have a belief that when I do my personal work, that it actually reverberates out 7 generations behind me and 7 generations ahead of me. And so I think that no matter how long it takes us to get to that place where we go, oh shit, yeah, I see my part now and I can take personal responsibility for that. And I'm so sorry. And for me, it's the Ho'oponopono process, which is part of the apology forgiveness is I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Uh, at any point, I think anything that we can do to bring that healing closer to the event is better. And even if it's been 20, 30, 40, 50 years, it still has an impact. So I think that people kind of get into this idea that, well, it's just been so long, so why bother? Because it makes a difference. I'm curious how your mom received that.
oh, with like I mean, she was almost in tears. Like I bought the new tin for, on Etsy. I sent the story to the people who sold it to me, and they were just like crying over it. And it's just a thing. It's just a thing, but that thing meant so much to her. Um, so yeah, she loved that. She loved that I did it.
Yeah, that's so cool. I'm curious, Kyle, if you could share with those who are watching, um, like what inspires you to want to do this deeper work? I mean, this is really courageous, brave work, is to go back and resolve something that happened 20, 30 years ago, or a relationship with an employer however long ago that was. What inspires you to want to do that?
I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's interpersonal relationships, specifically romantic relationships, because I think there's a lot of division right now between men and women, and it's a lot. A lot of it is very rightful. A lot of it is very um, righteous
Mhm.
anger. And I'm a man, so I need to know what my part in this is. I always like to think of myself as like one of the good guys, like I'm a good man, but that doesn't fly.
Amazing human.
Unfortunately, yeah. And so, um, I'm recently encountering some women who have had past sexual abuse, and what I'm noticing about that situation is a lot of that is unresolved and unhealed, and so they've kicked the can down the road in terms of like unresolution, and so it goes into their subsequent relationships, and then I sort of I'm subject to the undertow of that,
Yep.
and so once I realized like there are some people who have been hurt, women who have been hurt so badly by men that they have zero to give, like they're they're all out of patience, and so when you arrive in a relationship like that, you don't have much um, time to not screw up, and I have, and I need to figure out how to not do that.
Right.
Like I don't know. That's my specific one. I recently reached back to an ex of 8 years, my record as far as long-term relationships go. Reached back and asked for her forgiveness and told her what my part of that was, and
Beautiful.
and she apologized right back because she saw exactly what it was that she did. So, and this has all been inspired by failing relationships, what's going on in the world right now, and my reading this trauma book, which is showing how to what they call co-regulation, which is like in the midst of a breakdown, a fight, that you
Mhm.
could stop it really easily if you knew how to do that. And
Right.
it has the tools inside the book to do it.
That's awesome. What's the name of the book again?
It's called What Happened to You?
Beautiful.
by Dr. Bruce Perry and Oprah Winfrey.
Awesome. I'll have to check that out. Yeah, if it's I think it's really amazing. I have been touched on you have brought me to tears a number of times just by reaching out and saying, "I'm so sorry for what's happening to women right now. What can I do?" And I was just like, "Oh my God, you're the only man that has said anything to me about that." And it's just I felt so seen. I felt so validated. And even though I'm beyond, birthing years, it feels like an assault that rights of women are being taken away. And when you reached out in that way, it was so healing to me to know that there are men out there who want to make a difference, who want to help heal the gap between men and women. And I think it really is like you are a pioneer and a leader. So I hope you continue doing what you do and just continuing making those personal reparations because it makes a difference. I really believe it makes a difference.
Well, unfortunately, I'm not perfect. I'm not Superman, but I need to start somewhere. And
Right.
um, the 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 apologies. Sometimes some people can have been could have been hurt so badly and so repeatedly, and then it's unresolved, like this big gaping wound that even an apology can seem manipulative to these
Hmm.
types of people. Um, it's kind of like a wounded animal or an abused animal. Not to compare humans
No,
to
it's
animals in
it's
that
very
regard,
true. It's very
but
true.
if someone has so much pain, they don't their level of trust is remarkably low.
Hmm.
Like even the most trustworthy person could approach them, and it's not going to be good enough.
Right.
And there was a quote I saw that said something like, "If you don't heal your wounds, then you'll bleed on people who did not cut you."
Right.
And so
Right.
that's what I've run into.
Hmm.
But I'm also a person who has a few wounds that are not addressed. And so I've tried to do that. One of my particular core wounds of abandonment, I finally realized, and it was actually something that I didn't even know really actually happened to me.
Hmm.
Like it felt like a dream, like I dreamed it. And once I confirmed that it did happen to me, my
It
family,
made sense.
then I could look at it and zoom in on it and do something about it.
Well, I think
One
really from that perspective, it's really important for us to remember whoever we're in relationship, we're all carrying these individual personal wounds. We're all carrying generational wounds. We're carrying cultural wounds. We're carrying religious wounds. Like we are all, and we're just watching it exploding all over the place with all the finger pointing and all the gaslighting. And I think that your gesture of I'm sorry. Here's my part of it. Please forgive me. Thank you. I mean, that's really what starts the healing. And so I just applaud you. We're gonna wrap up here really quick. What's your wish for humanity right now?
right now is to do probably the hardest thing that any of us could do, and that is to try to find the biggest gaps. I mean, I'm talking like if there's a chasm between two people that's really, really big, and that we're avoiding that conversation to to address it, to finally and do it before, hopefully before we die. I guess lest we bring it into our next lives. I don't know how that all works, but what I'm talking about is taking the other to dinner,
Mm,
instead of the avoidance, which I think the avoidance, what it's doing is it's causing the rift to get bigger. The drift keeps creating, more cognitive dissonance and bubble forming. We're all in bubbles because we're like, well, I don't want to talk to that kind of person,
mhm,
and it's gays and straights and blacks and whites and men and women. I mean, you name a polarity. There's always people. Well, they've sort of resigned themselves. Women, a lot of them that I've talked to have said things like, um, "All men are pigs," and then
huh.
they catch themselves and say, "Well, not all." They have to
Not
cut,
all
and
men.
yeah, but they go there with their
Mhm.
in their minds because they're so tired of it,
Yeah.
and I don't blame them. So yeah, like that's I think my hope. for humanity.
Yeah.
And you mentioned them too, like Democrats, Republican, like there's all kinds of rifts that we need to take those people, turn towards each other instead of away,
Yeah.
basically.
Well, if you are
It's not
watching
easy.
this, no, it's not. If it's brave work. If you want to reach out and send Kyle some love, if you want to talk to him, here's his information. Look_Kyle@outlook.com. There's his phone number. Please be kind. We are not here to spread hatred or any of that. We're just here having a conversation and just planting seeds of hope and healing. And if you're wanting support from me, you can always reach me at my website, quantum-therapeutics.com. And you can reach me at that phone number. Kyle, thank you so much. You are truly an amazing human. And I'm so glad I know you. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
You're
Thanks for
welcome.
having me.
Absolutely. We'll talk to you soon.
You bet. Bye.